we're going to do a top 5 list. Out of these big 25 free agents, like who do we think was the most influential to the team or the biggest money? Or I think it's fair to explain it, who you have on the top 5 and why you have on the top 5. So I'm going to swing it to Ken first. Give me your top 5.
So my number 5, not too interesting, but still notable in my opinion, was Brandon Nimmo going back to the Mets for 8 years, $168 million. Not surprised at all that he went back to the Mets. I'm just surprised at the length of this contract and the amount of this contract. I did not think 8 years, 168 was in the cards for the Mets to retain their own center fielder. I was shocked by the money value, and Stevie Cohen, as we saw all around with the Mets moves, he was ready to cut the paycheck, and cut the paycheck he did with Brandon Nimmo. That surprised me.
Like it. Ollie.
You know what? My number 5 was Mr. Kodai Senga going to the Mets. Maybe you guys saw that coming, but I really did not. I thought he'd be going out west for sure. This seems like a classic LA Angels, LA Dodgers signing to me. But Mr. Steve Cohen, look at this man. Just like you said with Nimmo, he will just deal out the money for anybody. And I think Senga's going to be gnarly in Queens next season. That's a great signing.
My number 5 is Yoshida, actually. I think this signing is the saving grace of the Red Sox that are, after losing Bogarts, a pretty barren team, honestly. And I think they really needed some excitement, some reason to purchase season tickets. And I think Yoshida is that guy. So I think $18 million a year is a little high for an international player that's basically unproven in the MLB. So dishing out $100 million to this fellow here. Oh, I mean it's 90, but it's around 100. But
yeah, basically 100. It's about 100.
Basically 100. But I just think that's a big price to pay, and I think that'll definitely fill some seats at Fenway. So I like the move, and I think that the Red Sox needed this in this offseason, or this would have been an ultimate failure of an offseason for the Red Sox.
Yeah, my number 4 is also Masataka Yoshida to the Red Sox. Same with you. You kind of nailed all the points. I don't really have to go in depth about this, but I was surprised that. Let me just say this. I was surprised that the Red Sox went after this guy, given the other moves they made or the lack of moves they made. I'll get into the Red Sox stuff later. Hint, hint. But yeah, surprise.
Ollie, you're number 4, good sir.
Mr. Dansby Swanson going to the Cubs. The reason this surprised me, it's an important signing. Surprised me because I don't really see the Cubs as major contenders in the NL next season. They're kind of boxed in behind the Cardinals, Brewers, juggernauts. They don't have that much young talent coming up, but they go out and get Dansby Swanson, lock him out for a long time. It's a smart signing. It's a big signing. It's gonna, if it doesn't work out, it's gonna ruin them financially for years. But I really thought he was gonna go back to the Braves or maybe to the Angels or something. And Chicago kind of swoops in, I think, out of nowhere. None of us predicted that, and locks him up for 7 years. Again, solid signing, but not what I saw coming.
Okay, I mean, and necessarily this doesn't have to be like surprise signings. It can also just be like influential. Like for my next guy, I have Rodon. I think that is a very influential signing by the Yankees. I think he was, other than Verlander and DeGrom, the third best, number 1 starter on the market, and he is very capable, and he had so much depth to the Yankees rotation. And he transitions this Yankees rotation into being what I call the best in baseball. And I don't know if many people would disagree with me, possibly Ollie. But I think Rodon was really important for the Yankees, and I think there was some conditions you hear that he said he wasn't signing unless Judge signs. Oops, maybe a little hint. But it's really important that the Yankees added a piece, because if they don't add a piece, other than Aaron Judge, you're looking at they're running it back with the same exact team as last year. So I think that was a really influential signing by the New York Yankees.
I like that. For my third most notable free agent signing of the offseason, I have Xander Bogaerts going to the San Diego Padres. The team is, yes, surprising. I didn't think the Padres were going to be in on another shortstop, but also the money. So I had $140 million predicted. Isaac had $168. And Ollie had 132, so we were all in that $150 million range. He ends up signing for $280 million, goddamn near $300 million for 11 years. So that 100% surprised me. I'm sure it surprised both of you. Xander to the Padres. What a move!
Yeah, and so glad to get him out of the Yankees division. That guy was just a thorn in our side. It felt like he was getting a base hit every time he was up at some points in the season. Really underrated player, and I actually really hope he does well in San Diego. I out of all the Red Sox, I really respect him. I really respect him. Ollie.
I had Trey Turner going to the Phillies, another shortstop. This signing is crazy to me just because of how long they locked him up for. It's 11 years of Trey. And you guys know he's pretty much 30 years old now, so we know where he's going to be at age 41, playing something for the Phillies unless they release him. I just didn't think he would get that many years. Obviously, he was probably a top 3 player on the market this offseason. And this turns the Phillies from, I think the top 5 team in the NL to maybe the top 3 team in the NL. Serious contenders in the NL East now. I see them as another playoff team next year because they were such a shock last year reaching the World Series on 86 wins out of nowhere. But now with Turner, they've legitimized what happened last season. Philly has said last season was real. We believe in what we built here. And this is a signing that confirms what we've done in Philadelphia. So it's a bold, big balls, big move signing to get Turner. We all kind of saw it coming, but still it's a big dick move for the Phillies.
I like how you described that, and I totally agree. He's actually on my list too, but not on number 3. For number 3, I had Jacob deGrom. I think why I don't have him higher is because I don't think he influences the team enough to make them a playoff team. I have struggled to find those words, but I think it's an important signing. Obviously, he's when healthy the best pitcher in the MLB, and it's not even close. 185, 37 AAV. It's a huge contract. Mets fans very salty about it, which I see why. He didn't even listen to their offer. But I think deGrom is going to have a new start in Texas, maybe a little less pressure in the New York media. Maybe he can relax, pitch well, and hopefully he doesn't get injured. But I still don't think this turns them into a playoff team, right? I really still don't see them, being a playoff team. So that's why I have him a little lower than maybe number 1 or 2. But yeah, Jacob deGrom, number 3. Ken.
Okay, now my number 2 is also Trey Turner to the Phillies for 11 years, $300 million. I guess I can add another point that Trey Turner, he signed for 11 years. He's 29 years old. Xander also signs for 11, but compared to Xander, I'm a little worried about the 11 years more with Trey Turner because of his style of play. Obviously, he relies heavily on his legs, his speed, and playing a shortstop position. He's not too great at. He's a solid defender. He can play the position, but it'll be interesting to see where he moves later in his career. And with Xander, I feel like the 11 years doesn't affect him that much because he's such a great hitter. He's a pure hitter, and I feel like he can just slap balls around all over, hit doubles for days until he's 40. With Trey Turner, I'm a little bit more worried, but yeah, 11 years definitely shocked me. Phillies lineup, that's gross.
Phillies. Disgusting. Yeah, my number 2, I went with your big signing of the season, Carlos Rodon to the Yankees, that big 6-year contract. This hurts my soul. This hurts my soul.
Let me hear it, Ollie. Let me hear it.
Makes me happy because I'll probably see him pitch sometime next summer, which is great, whether in Boston or Yankee Stadium. But I'm just sad that he is on the other team because this man is an absolute machine. Ken did a really, really strong video about Rodon, which I suggest you guys check out.
Link in the description.
None of us saw him going to the Yankees. I saw him going to the Angels of all teams. But you guys locked him up. Credit to Cashman, the first good signing of his tenure.
Wow.
So I'm so used to him signing 45-year-old catchers. That's amazing.
Name one over 35 catcher he signed.
Rodon is now, I think, probably the top pitcher on your staff, unless Cole decides to stop giving up so many home runs. So, yeah, great job.
Yeah.
Lefty.
I just wanted to quickly say the Angels thing. I could have seen him going to the Angels as well. And what are the Angels doing? I mean, you have 1 year left of Ohtani, and maybe this is a little preview for later, but this is what you guys are doing with the offseason?
Isaac has him as the loser of the offseason.
Maybe not. Okay, anyway, this guy's already been talked about, so I have Trey Turner number 2. The only thing I'm going to say about him, he slides very, very coolly, and that's all I'm going to say because you guys already covered everything. Number 1 free agent signing, most influential, whatever you want to talk about. I'm going to just give mine really quick because it's the obvious one. It's Aaron Judge. I mean, he is the man. He's the captain of the New York Yankees. This needed to happen. This absolutely needed to happen for baseball, for Yankees fans. If Aaron Judge wasn't a Yankee for the rest of his career, it would have been the ultimate systematic failure of the New York Yankees. And honestly, baseball. It would have been a failure of baseball because he is the type of Yankees legend that is the face of baseball that will be remembered forever. Like Jeter, like Reggie Jackson, like Mantle, like Lou Gehrig, like Ruth. He is that type of player. And if the Yankees didn't sign him, I really don't know what it would have happened. It would have been miserable for all of us here at Bleacher Boys Media, and it would have been miserable for a lot of Yankees fans. So glad he's back. They captained him, and yeah, go Hal Steinbrenner.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't have Aaron Judge just because I knew that someone else would have him. My number one pick, Isaac kind of already covered it, but it's Jacob deGrom to the Texas Rangers. I'm surprised at the length of this contract. 5 years for a guy that's 34, I think, and hasn't really been staying healthy for the past few years. Jacob deGrom, obviously the best pitcher in the league, but for 5 years, how many? I think we all had him going 2-3 years to the Mets.
Isaac, I had Texas.
You had him go to the
2 years.
Texas, but you had 2 years. Okay, I mean, I'm
88
surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised the Texas Rangers went to the 5th year. Surprised at how the negotiations with him and the Mets turned out. Steve Cohen really didn't give it a full push to sign his guy, and Jacob deGrom really, it looked like he really wanted to get out of New York. So surprised at all the stuff that went on, but deGrom 5 years. Hopefully he can be a good mentor to the young guns they have in the system. So I think it's an influential signing.
Ollie?
Good takes, boys. My number one was the guy who is one of the biggest stories of the offseason for many controversial reasons, Carlos Correa. I have him there mainly because of all the hoops and jumps he went through to get signed. You know, if you guys have been following the news, you know he was almost locked up by the Giants, then maybe locked up by the Mets, and finally on a great anticlimax went back to the Minnesota Twins of all teams. So I got to think Carlos Correa is very disappointed by this offseason. I'm happy that he's playing for a team that's going to finish in 4th place and lose 100 games probably, because the last thing I want to see is Correa have any success whatsoever.
Agreed.
We're with you.
So this is a victory for baseball all around to see Correa, he's going to while away a few years in some backwater and hopefully get injured again. Well, not hopefully get injured, but hopefully
That's crazy.
bat 100 and strike out 300 times. And the point is, Correa is now more irrelevant than he's been in years, and that's the win for baseball.
Okay, I hate Carlos Correa too, but the injury thing is crazy.
That's
Ollie.
crazy, Ollie.
My
Ollie,
face.
cancel Ollie.
Sorry.
My face is literally the
Oh my
thumbnail.
God.
Ken, remember that. My face right there is literally the thumbnail.